We have sound. Yay. It's warming up. Random licks running through my head. I used to actually play a lot of songs. I'd sit here and burn through before I had a camera to do it in front of. I like before before 1999. 1999 was kind of a watershed year. The dam broke. working on the belly. I may actually start doing some exercises. I'm definitely going to be like playing more because that's my best exercise. I really need to be standing up and doing this, but I'm not in the mood. Got to get everything out of the way. It's a very tiny place, but otherwise it's working real well. What was that? Something in my browser making a lot of noise. Usually means somebody got hold of me. Yes. Uh-oh. Now what? Ah. That's enough of that for now. Oh, that's right. It's over here. Well, I guess I did age a bit last year, but I'm still doing pretty good for 66. In spite of what people might want to say about me. And it's really a small number of idiots who are like really socially unacceptable characters who can't show their faces anywhere but on troll bases. Let's see what's cooking here. If there's anything I might want to read. This is cute. You know, the I don't do anything for the Native Americans because I'm not one. This ass. We're all native to where we're born. And most of us have ancestors who are indigenous to somewhere else, especially if you live in the United States. But if you're of European descent, it's likely that you're living on somebody's stolen land. So here's from Alberta Jim Miller. CNN reported that a federal judge ordered the prison to provide organic meals to one of the Trump supporters who's awaiting trial. That's Hornhead. I wonder if we can petition the federal court to serve our native relatives a traditional diet of elk, deer, buffalo, fish, etc., along with native-grown vegetables, and as an occasional treat, wasabi, which is a berry sauce. The prison diet is so horrible that there are many who develop diabetes, high blood pressure, and other illnesses. Then Caitlin Johnstone is saying today, war is insanity. Unjust war is criminal insanity. It made me question, like, when is war just? One of the ugliest things about Western imperialism is the way it gives extremely young soldiers whose minds have been warped by a criminally insane war machine the power of life and death over defenseless populations. This is something I probably should read. Let me check on something. Somebody just said something to me. Nothing important. Anyway, Mary Hughes Thompson, who was co-founder with Greta Berlin of the Free Gaza, Break the Siege movement, passed away yesterday. And Greta wrote a tribute to her um, in honor of my friend. Mary Hughes Thompson, 87, died on February 5th, 2021, in Los Angeles, California. She's survived by her son, Andy Hughes, 65, and a granddaughter, Selena Hughes, 20, from Guelph, Canada. When we asked her who she wanted donations to go to, she asked us to let everyone know that they should go to Middle East Children's Alliance. They have now set up a page to collect funds to build a playground in her honor in Gaza. Please donate and share. I also want to talk about her life, at least the life I knew from being her friend, her sister, and her comrade for 19 years. She's a woman of determination, courage, and joy. Her life spanned 8 decades in 3 countries. In the last decades of her life, she was an outspoken advocate for justice in Palestine, Iraq, and the U.S. I met her in 2003 when she was 69 years old, back from a trip to the occupied West Bank, and I was getting ready to leave for Palestine. She was born in 1933 in Manchester, England, and used to tell us stories about what it was like growing up under the bombs of Hitler, how she learned to knit socks and scarves and caps for the British soldiers. She was only 7 when she learned to knit, and when she used that talent her entire life, becoming a master knitter, designing patterns and teaching knitting classes in Los Angeles. That was just one of her many talents, though. At 16, she had to leave school because everyone did in those days after the war had ravaged Britain. She was the only girl in a family of 9 children when she was growing up. Her sister came along 12 years later, too late to help. And she was in charge of taking care of the house, her brothers, and working as well. Her mother used to tell her she was clever, but Mary was much more than clever. She was smart, funny, and could write rings around most people. When she moved to California in 1963, she'd been married and had a son, Andy. Mary got a job in the film business, starting as a secretary, working her way up through the ranks, and by the time she was in her 50s, she was a documentary researcher for David Wolper, a writer for All in the Family, and a member of the Writers Guild. One day, she decided she'd like to learn to fly. She did, got her pilot's license, and bought a small Cessna. She once told me her mom had come to visit her from the UK, and she piled her mom into the plane and flew her to Palm Springs for lunch just because she could. She flew for years until in her 50s she had decided that was enough and sold the plane. When I met her, she was already retired and doing human rights work. She'd been to occupied Palestine with Christian Peacekeepers team and the International Solidarity Movement twice. At 68, while picking olives in Yanoun, she was attacked by armed settlers who beat her and took all of her possessions. She had no broken bones, but her arms, back, and chest were badly bruised, bleeding, and swollen. The settlers had stolen her 2 passports, air ticket, credit cards, digital camera, and approximately $1,000 in cash. Yet she was determined to return, and she would several times. When Bush invaded Iraq, she joined the CPT Human Rights Delegation in 2003 and became a witness there before the carnage began, hoping the U.S. would have second thoughts if they knew how many Americans had gone to Iraq in support of peace instead of war. They left just before the war broke out. I had contacted her because I was leaving for occupied Palestine in July of 2003. And she was an invaluable source of information. We realized we lived only a mile apart from each other, and we became fast friends for the rest of her life. In 2005, we went to Palestine for the Women in Black conference, fooling the Shin Bet interrogators who kept us at the Ben Gurion airport for 8 hours. We carefully crafted a story about who we were and how we'd get in, saying I was bringing my crippled cousin to the Holy Land so she could walk where Jesus walked one last time. She's in a wheelchair. I borrowed a bottle of heart medication and put aspirin in it, and had a cane as well. As they kept taking me off into one small room after another, they left Mary in the baggage area. She got weaker and weaker and smaller and smaller. Mary had done such a good acting job that when they finally let us in, I believed she was ill. We took a cab to Jerusalem. All the time I was asking her if she was okay. When it pulled up in front of the Damascus gate, she leaped out of the cab, grabbed her roller bag, and took off down the street. It had all been an act, fooling even me. That's the Mary I'll remember. We returned to occupied Palestine one more time in 2007 traveling through Jordan this time with Holocaust survivor Hedy Epstein and journalist Alison Weir. The adventures we had, the joy we felt getting back in, entering from the Sheikh Hussein crossing where most pilgrims entered the Galilee. We were sure we'd be stopped, but the famed Israeli tracking system apparently didn't reach as far as this crossing. When Mary and I walked through passport control, by then we had new passports, they asked us why we were coming. I just want to walk the steps of Jesus one more time, she replied. Well, it worked the first time. It worked this time as well. When they began questioning her, she kept nodding her head and saying, What? She can't hear, I said. What did you need to know? They waved us through. We attended Isa Amro's wedding, worked in Hebron, went to Bilin, documented what we witnessed, wrote PR releases and articles. She and I were already working on a new project, had been since 2006, sailing boats to Gaza. She was the co-founder of that initiative. We actually made it to Gaza in 2008. After that, August, she worked on the land crew in Cyprus 3 more times, sending boats back to Gaza. 2 of them landed successfully. In 2010, Mary was supposed to be one of the passengers on board the ill-fated Freedom Flotilla I-1 when the ships were attacked and 10 of our passengers were murdered by Israeli commandos who attacked all 6 ships in the flotilla. When she couldn't get on board one of the boats, she came back to the Free Gaza office in Cyprus and worked tirelessly for over 3 weeks, handling media questions from the UK, Australia, and New Zealand. In 2011, she was a passenger on board the Canadian boat to Gaza, also stopped when Israel outsourced the occupation to Greece and demanded a Greek Coast Guard stop all of our boats from leaving there. For the past 10 years, Mary has written, spoken, and advocated for justice in Palestine. Since we could no longer get into Gaza, she became one of several U.S. boat passengers on board that first successful trip to go out and speak to audiences about what we'd done and what we witnesses. When the book about our trip, Freedom Sailors, buy it from Amazon, was released, she toured the West Coast with me, speaking to audiences about that first successful trip. One of her last messages to those of us who have worked, loved, and laughed with her was typical. Please don't be too sad for me. I've really had a life filled with so many blessings and so many beautiful friends. So many things I wish I'd done, promises I don't have time to keep, friends I can't hug one last time. Please don't cry for me. I'm filled with gratitude for you. I love every one of you more than you could possibly know. Mary. Dearest friend, you will be terribly missed by all of us. I'm proud to have known you and call you my friend. May you rest in Palestine. I don't know. I don't feel like gabbing. And I don't feel like planning anymore. I'm tired, but I'm in a nice, comfortable place. It's cheaper, so it won't be so hard to, make the finances work. And I got my whole trip right here. It's the wall there. That wall goes all the way to the front door, and that whole wall is where I got stones and stuff set up for sale. And here's my finishing table there. I'll get that together. Anyway, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching. Happy day. Bye.